Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. Wow, the popularity of this series has skyrocketed. Knew that we would be doing better once we came back to Black Ice in Germany, but it is doing very well, so I want to thank you all. Seems like we're having new subscribers, so welcome any new people coming, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, please like the videos, and of course I love to hear your comments. Now, mentioning comments, been getting a few. I know I've sort of answered them below, but not everyone looks down below. One is that I just got earlier today. Why don't I use battle plans, and why aren't I putting divisions into armies and theaters? Why am I not doing that? Well, why am I not putting in armies and theaters? I will as we approach the war. Somewhere between laziness and just not needed yet. I haven't been organizing up the army. I prefer to micromanage things, but I do use hello Toy Jet, good to see you. Van Bishop, welcome here, and of course hello Arno. I do use battle plans when I think they're useful. One, I really like the use of battle plans for planning parachute operations, and they're sort of needed obviously in the mechanics, but particularly the naval invasions, because naval invasions really weren't spur of the moment when you're talking about divisional size units and more. So that is a good thing. But when I play things like multiplayer games, I most assuredly set up with battle plans for this, and because it's needed for the continuing flow of the game. I prefer to do what we have sort of done here, pause and micromanage the war. I just like that level of interaction. Now I know they get feedback from the metrics of playing the game. A lot of people just like to sort of draw the battle plans and sit back and watch them happen. That is perfectly legitimate if that's your play style and your desires. And a couple of things I wanted to sort of show off here. You can look up here under the Black Ice control panel tab and fire off some of these, which will fire off events for the various elements here. If you want, I guess we can do the right now, do the frequently asked questions. So this creates this. You can read all of this and then hit I understand. I have other questions or want to give feedback or questions about the OOP system. So I'm just going to hit I understand. So that makes that go all the way. And also I was sort of notified, because I really wasn't paying attention to it. These have been moved here. Army HQ efficiency, a small army, small air force size, and naval strength. These are things you don't get to change. They just change as, particularly with the size of the army. I do think the Army HQ efficiency will change based on here. I think it's this, going through this command tree of going through. So that's, so if you want to see what that's going on, and obviously you can make that go away. So yeah, that is how all of that is working. Now, we have a little bit of command power. We do have some operations we can do, but I don't know if we are either useful to do or necessary. Maybe I should say they may all be useful. But don't know if they're useful. They use up a lot of command power, and I don't want, well, thinking we have, well, moderate amount of the government. Propaganda minister. Do we want to put Goebbels in charge of things? Civilian factory use. 4. Recruitable population factor by 3. Weekly stability. Weekly war support. Well, we're not at war yet. Daily fascist support. Well, we are rather fascist. Political power gain plus 2%, and command power gain 0.0% and radio technologies plus 5. Goebbels is not dead. Well, man, they make these things painful, don't they? Instead of just having a clear, like, hey, do this, there's no cost. There's a cost towards it. Let's analyze this for a moment. Joseph Goebbels. He was a propaganda master. The sort of over the top movies you see of caricatures of Jews, he was vehemently against. He was an anti-Semite, most assuredly. Somewhat of a leveling left-leaning Nazi, also for sure. But he wanted, as he saw it, positive image of Germanness and subtle undercutting of non-Germanness, as they defined it. So he was a master of it. He also did not like Leni Riefenstahl's and her movies, but she had her own, shall we say, connection to Hitler, and was able to get what she wanted. And Triumph of the Will is a very powerful movie that she does, and of course her Olympia is also very good. But they weren't in his program. So her propaganda was very effective, but different. And yes, like I say, Triumph of the Will is very sort of over the top, shall we say, but I think very effective for the German mindset. The Germans seem to have, and I'm still studying all this, but seem to have, and it's very much today, and it predates the Nazis, a very sort of strong sense of wanting ordered communities, and it doesn't need to express itself in National Socialism, but National Socialism is a version of expression of Germanness, and so they overlap, but they're not necessarily one and the same. I guess we're going to go with this because we might as well get the additional political power gain now and the additional daily command gain now. So, for the cost of 4 factories, I guess that represents the movie industry investment that we see, and the we'll support that attack as we continue the Spanish Civil War, and the radio industry. There's the I think it's called the Volkskamper, the People's Radio. I know Funk is radio in German, but that was a highly subsidized basic radio. I'll move up to support that in Germany to help spread propaganda to get radio in everyone's home, and they were subsidized to get there. looks like. Yeah, I want to hit this province. Okay, good. Now, hit them hard. If we can create a mini pocket in here, it would be good. And we have more shipbuilding production available. Yes, I know I'm building out of date equipment. Okay. We're going to build more interwar submarines. Okay, good. There. Now, can we cut militia off? We just want to support. No. We just want to support attack, not actually move into the province. So, if we were to, let's see, because we've now built up some more command power, reform our military command. So now this is interesting. Division training time for 25 days, leadership cost. Yeah, I think we'll do this one. There we go. Got that pocket sealed off. Electric motor hoists. Completed the research here into that. Let's see. Freon refrigeration. Consumer goods factories. Down 2.5%. Well, that would help offset our 4 factories that we've just now. Oh, let's gotta put pressure on these guys here. They're gonna start expanding back out. That's what I really don't like about the AI and pockets, that they don't seem to effectively push on them. Okay, so we've got organization tote again now. Of course, that added 2 factories again to help offset. Oh no, we were on the IG Farben. That's right. So that will help with our oil. Okay, fuel refinery, storage buildings, fuel silo, rubber storage. That would be useful. 32 days, 32 days. Expand opal work. 32 days. They all look good. They all look good. German. Okay, military factory. That looks good. How many days? 28 days. Naval dockyards look good. 21 days for Junker School. Okay, well, sort of want to get down here, so I guess we will develop that some more. And we also have, I think, no, okay. Okay, good. We crushed that pocket. You come back up this way. You go pursue those retreating garrison units. Okay, magazine fort raid. The IRA raided the magazine fort in Dublin. Though they had managed mostly to seize Irish munitions, they were reclaimed shortly afterwards. Many IRA volunteers were caught and arrested. Many high-ranking IRA members have been executed. Okay. Okay, let's drive into the mountains, create another pocket up here. We can support that attack. See, the question in my mind is do I want to crush the Republicans now, or do I want to keep building up army experience, etc., by having this go on? Because this is, I'm sure, costing me a few tanks and whatnot. It is not a major cost, though, for me, so I want to keep that in balance. Medical research, very good. Now, let's see, we do have, yes, we will go with the construction here. Oh, let's counterstroke them. Crush them. See, now this is interesting. I'm just noticing it. Nah. I think it just meant to be a shadow on their faces and not bearded troops. It just sort of kind of looks like bearded troops here. Just looking at these figures, but normally I spend much of the time zoomed out, I should say. are we doing on... Okay, we need more prime movers, we need more heavy artillery. We're not producing any heavy artillery. Okay. We're building another fuel silo. You can support the attack. And dive bombing. Okay, hold on for that. Yeah. But I want to move around. West wall light fortification. Reich Autobahn. 14 days, 28 days. I think we'll spend the 14 days and get Reich Autobahn for the year. And well, yeah, we want a synthetic oil level to improve. Hello, IKP. Good to have you here. Take the mountain fortress. Okay, well, now let's see about... I want to see about going down to Barcelona. Maybe take that and trap whatever other troops there. Okay. Reich Autobahn, that's good. Yeah, we... 37. No, I think I'll wait a little bit longer for that. Times 500 reduce fuel. Portable fuel cans. Do that. Hello, Tippet. Why did I not say that earlier to you? I think I didn't. Well, joining the attack. No. Attack wasn't strong enough. Chinese United Front. Oh, hold it. Pause. Okay. Yeah. Looks like we have had the Marco Polo incident. No, not yet. Okay. They're just getting a united front together because of things. Okay. The Hindenburg incident, disaster narrowly averted today. Okay, now we can hit him with enough force to do some good. I want to quickly here take a look at our, yes. Okay. Now, see, games that are really worth playing really take more than one playthrough to get, you know, get good at, shall we say. Because I know from previous experience that we will have, once we go through and over here, maybe way over here. Okay, come through here. Army, medium army research. Somewhere here we will unlock some more divisional templates based you know, they're sort of doing that, and details. Some of them are just for research bonuses, I see, but it may very well be when I unlock, and that's one of the things why I'm sort of pursuing some of this now, where my instincts are to jump to infrastructure development, but unlock, well, these are mutually exclusive, but unlock the different tank types, which will give us different division types. How much do I spend on things that I'm later going to switch to another version of things? Like, I wonder what, okay, this is a 35 model, 1935 model light division, so we can view this, and I think this is sort of locked now, so we can't change this yet. Okay. And though here we could train this, but that's not what is going here. Okay, so Panzer 1, Panzer 2s. We currently here I think are equipped. Oh, we have Panzer 2s and Panzer 1s, so they're, I guess, both mixed in with this division organization. I'm trying to see. Yeah, so there's some are 2s and some are 1s for this. Okay. I was just thinking mostly maybe about adding another infantry unit here, but I guess not at the time. I guess this is a good setup. A reasonably good. Cool. IKB. Blowing up a car. Yeah, I think I will use stugs and such. I want to use stugs and such. There is, come over here. Oh, probably here. Well, how are they currently being handled? Are they okay? Yeah. It's a combination. Obviously, you know, this is way too soon to start doing any. Well, I guess we could do these, but well, no, these are still way too early here. Even in 37. Just the research time is an element of doing that. I really love their tree, though. They've really seemed to have locked things down to the historical possibilities, and I like that. Fuel, fuel, fuel. Fuel gain from refineries 2.5%. Bonuses for synthetic fuel resources. 15. Yeah, we'll do this. I'm worried about fuel. Capacity, are you going to invade mainland Britain? If so, by sea, air, or both. Okay, my current plan is to follow my general strategy for Germany. I know it may seem somewhat redundant, which is to secure the Mediterranean after the conquest of France. Help Italy do so. I do not plan on building a navy which can defeat the British Navy, but that doesn't mean we can't invade. I don't know how well, and this is always an experiment with the AI, how well the British will effectively use their navy. I will be building various naval bombers and seaplanes, float planes. Eventually, we could use more cobalt. I think that was cobalt. I know. Okay, chromium. Sorry, chromium. Okay. Yeah, we'll increase it from Sweden. Good to get it from a close source. So we will be using air power. We may go after Britain, but it goes back to Sun Tzu. The indirect approach is almost always the best approach. Most generals, most of the time, will only take the indirect approach after the direct approach has failed. So with Britain, what is the direct approach? Well, put armies into London. Okay, that's the direct attack. It's just obvious. Now, we do have that this is Hearts of Iron, and the AI does incredibly stupid things. So, in my opinion, I had a really good game going, as I believe it was Russia with the World War One mod, the Great Mod, or the Great War mod, and Germany leaves part of its front open. I'm sitting there going, or was it Germany invading France? I don't remember, but it was one of those two. I'm going, do I not take advantage of this? And I go, no, I take advantage of it and see where it goes. And I crush the other four side because they leave the front open. It is actually a good thing that the AI will shift units around, because to not shift is a bad thing, but to not keep your front fully manned, unless you just don't have the units. If you have 10 units in 12 frontal provinces, you can't. But you want to, and the real solution there, of course, is like looking at you, Netherlands, is to retreat back to where you have a limited front and give up the rest of your country, and hold where it would make sense to at least try to hold and give it up. So we very well may find that we have a situation in which we have enough naval transports and are able to invade Britain, and then that would be the smart thing to do and go after London. But Black Ice's magic might tempt me to reinstall the game. I got rid of it after a few hours, though. The graphics, Van Bishop, I agree with you. I like this type, the NATO style counters, but proper counters, better than these. And unfortunately, some of the information, like direction of movement and type of activity, is only conveyed through the troops. So I do use, instead of turning them off, I do leave the big giant men on the map. I would prefer Hearts of Iron 3 style counters on the map. But so we and the AI, trust me, the AI has gotten loads better, like Van Bishop. I don't know what the time it was when you were checking out Hearts of Iron in the early days. God, it was horrendous. Now it's just mildly bad. I'm talking about their combat AI. Sometimes the diplomatic AI and some of the production AI seems to be pretty good. It's because there's different AIs doing different things all at once. So a reasonably competent player should be able to prevent an effective invasion of Britain. Should be. And I say that looking at the Hearts of Iron, what makes the Hearts of Iron 3 AI look good? Hearts of Iron 4, it's still that much worse. But yeah, so in Hearts of Iron 3 particularly, invading Britain is, early on, is not normally the best thing to do. Much better to take the indirect approach, which would be to take and secure the Mediterranean. Why? Well, you can destroy a lot of units in doing so. You can expand their need of convoys to go around things. You can put you cut them off of supplies, oil and such. You give them a hard time in many theaters, which makes them send units out of their places. Then it could be appropriate to invade Britain, but we may decide to do, likely, invade the Soviet Union at that point. But we will be looking at all of that. I hear the Soviet Union is difficult to invade in Black Ice, and we will see. I'm expecting that to happen. I am hoping to hell it won't be like the Total War mod with, magical forts everywhere, magical forts, and other BS like that. Strategic bombing? Not heavily. I don't plan on doing that, being strategically bombed heavily. I'm not planning that the AI is going to do that heavily either to me. So, yeah. Oh yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Ben Bishop. No, the Hearts of Iron 3 counters, just if you don't know, after release, some point they did make a Hearts of Iron 3 counter style for this game, and they tried it and they discarded the idea because of their 3D map. Just doesn't look good, because you can sort of see that the feet on these units will disappear. You see the guy running, and now standing there, his foot is buried beneath the mountain. I guess in a way we could imagine that it's sinking into the mud or something. But so you can imagine the counters being half buried because they're a flat surface. So I have been pushing anybody who would listen to me, make a goddamn not outside of Paradox, because Paradox doesn't think it's worthwhile. Somebody make a 2D version of this map. It can be done. I mean, you can, whether you want to make the exact copy of the original, make a different one, make a 2D map, make it work reasonably well, and then I think, no special promises here, but I think we could convince them to release, make a 2D map, and make the 2D map, and then I think we can get them to release a DLC or something, whether it's a free thing or a paid thing, that would have Hearts of Iron 3 style counters that would show the information that we're used to seeing in Hearts of Iron 3. So, and the AI is not sterling, as I'm commenting here, but it is no longer the absolute joke it was. And this game has such potential. God, it has such potential. Well, they got a Soviet armor unit there in Madrid, it looks like, so that's why Madrid is holding out. They can just keep there, and they got a Soviet motorized division keeping the connection open to it. They can keep that open. Well, they've got a, well, they're being crushed. They don't have that much of a chance. They've got a little bit of a chance. Okay, Tippett, that's an interesting concept. One, the Cold War is really hard to do if you're doing it as the Cold War. Everything from programming the AI to developing the mechanics. Now, the Cold War going hot, that's a different matter. You know, it's to say, pick a year, I don't know, 1967, and sort of have that year, and then have it designed that the war starts, you know, hypothesizing Soviet invasion of West Germany or something like that. You know, so if you were to pick that time and make it go hot, you could build it and do it reasonably well. But trying to simulate a nearly 50-year idea with two massive nuclear armed camps there, that only as a last resort will the human or the AI go to war with each other, because not necessarily certain destruction of the human species, but destruction of, shall we say, civilized states are going to happen. And yeah, there's Cold War mods. Hello, Azads. But to keep the war to be sort of, you know, puppet wars and things going in the third world as you try to shift and do it, that becomes really hard, and I understand why they're not doing it. Modders, hey, they can knock themselves out and do it. But no, the 36 is the best year to start. Start time 36. You have it's the remilitarization of the Rhineland, and a bunch of other things happen in 36. 36 is the year to start, not in the 20s. So I get the impulse, but how do you do? And I know Black Ice tried to do a 1933 start that tried to have a 2 or 3-way German Civil War between SA units and we are facing what, MIFO bills probably. Hopefully don't miss that. Okay, yes, let's hit the MIFO bills. The Paris Universal Exhibition, basically like the World's Fair to some degree, but more of a technical thing than a fair thing. So trying to do a, you know, some sort of three-way civil war. So how do you do all the electioneering? It just, and then when you have Hitler come to power, how do you keep the, you know, Hitler's on a knife edge for a lot of time when he's newly in power. You have no conscription yet. You have the idea that if you start conscription too early, you can, we want to build a few more military factories. Worrying about a counter coup from the army. It's just not something that I would want to do. I mean, it would be, many of you who have been around know this, but one of the courses I took in university was Hitler. It was a class, I think there was like 12 or 13 of us in it, and it wasn't, it was more of a discussion course as opposed to a lecture course. But and each of us in it. So there was no uh, textbook in the course, but each of us, and as time went on, starting in the first part of the semester, we were directed to figure out what we wanted to study about Adolf Hitler. And my particular area of study of Adolf Hitler back at that time was his rise to power, was, leading up from, 1920 something through to 1933, and really looking at that rise to power. So I'm very fascinated with that period in history. Don't get me wrong, it is fascinating. There were assassination attempts against him, so especially early on, that would have shut down, because it was really the Hitler movement, particularly early on. Obviously, he's thrown in jail. So Hitler is not an inevitable winner in the situation, and Germany goes in and out of economic collapse a couple of times during the period. And so without the sort of second collapse and what leading to 33, the very beginning of 33, that Hitler becomes, and he's not even really got a majority hold. Sure, Goering is the Speaker of the Reichstag, but they really haven't got an electoral or voter majority in Germany, and it is really only the conservatives, the what is it, the Deutsches Front, the Nationalist Party, decides to go into coalition as a minor party, because they had been the party that was in charge, but as a minor partner to the Nazis, that they think they can sort of keep the Nazis in check, and that they would require approval of the nationalists for anything they do. So they think they can control him. They think they have the, well, hey, if you don't go along with our plan, we'll pull our support, which will mean another election, which will mean you'll lose your position as Chancellor of Germany. I keep wanting to say Prime Minister, but no, he was Chancellor of Germany. And the president is still Hindenburg, the nationalist leader. So there's, they think that they can sort of keep him in check, and they put von Papen, who had been the earlier chancellor. I don't think immediate, I can't remember all the details, but the one before the current one, or whatever, chancellor. So von Papen has been a chancellor of Germany, put him as vice chancellor. He's going to sort of run the show from the government, running the government itself. He was going to be the sort of popular guy making the speeches. And part of the program, like the idea of restoring German national honor, whatever exactly that means, it means various things to different people, the nationalists are on board with. They're not at at odds with the Germans. Now, they're traditionalists, as opposed to the Nazis are a revolutionary party. That is very clear. The Nazis are a revolutionary party. So, and not all of the revolution, with some of the members there against some of the elements of it. And so, it's sort of like, yeah, we sort of agree on half of your program, Hitler. With the other half, we don't. We're not going to let you go too far. But as we see, Hitler outmaneuvers them all. So even because had they not formed that coalition, they might have been able to maintain a minority party briefly, but it would have forced another election. And I don't have all the details of electoral stats, and we really don't know, well, what if, but I'm far from thinking that if another election wouldn't necessarily put, or, the Social Democrats in with some of the little bit more centrist parties, and maybe a coalition with the communists, to all sort of go, hey, if we don't have a coalition together, we're going to see the Nazis in power. So that we don't see Germany going the other way in 33. So all that's really tough to do. What you do have and so I'm fascinated by the period, as you can tell. I haven't been reading up on it recently, just because I've been focusing on 36 and later. But it would be an excellent political game if someone wants to make a political simulation game where, yeah, you have SA people and you have various left-wing people that units that you move around Germany that may do either stage a parade or go break up opposite different parties parade or meeting or whatever. So you have some of those kind of units running around in your thing, more than just winning votes, but have a whole. And I could maybe design one. I couldn't program one, but I could maybe design a game that would do the really fascinating political simulation game of like the Nazis' expansion from down here up into Berlin, but then how the Berlin, you have the Stennis revolt and whatnot, that is maybe that are claiming to be the Nazis, but revolting against Hitler and trying to create either a different, separate Northern Germany Nazi party, or simply just trying to dethrone Hitler from the National Socialist Party. So that could be a really fascinating game. I don't know if anybody or any significant numbers of people, I know you guys have been commenting. I'll look at that in a moment. I don't know if that would be a popular enough game to make a profit on from the cost of developing it, but it would be a fascinating thing to do. What you get really by 36 is two things happening. One, sort of late in 36, you have in 35 the Italian invasion of Ethiopia, which is an element of it, but is starting in late 36 as you have Hitler trying to woo Mussolini into an alliance, and general German rearmament is going apace. You have conscription now in 36 where you don't earlier. So you really have this road to rearmament, this road to war. And so with all that going, you can much easier make a game like Hearts of Iron work. And so 36 is the right year. And let's see what I'll look at that in a moment. We're going to end this episode here. I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. You better do so if you get to this point in the video. You must have liked it enough. And love to hear your comments, questions, suggestions. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.